Have you ever had the experience where you know you should do something like go to work on time or put the laundry away or finish a creative project or brush your teeth before bed, but you just couldn't do it? Everybody procrastinates sometimes, but for people who experienced abuse and neglect in childhood, procrastinating can take over your life. It can hold you back. It can make you depressed that you're stuck day after day in the same old rut, like a paralysis. Now, what is that? I've had this happen. I've spent months at a time in this place before, and I'll tell you, it is so demoralizing when it's happening to know that you're here in the world to do good, but something in you is not letting you do it. What causes it? I'll tell you, and I'll show you how you can take steps today to change. Okay, so the problem with procrastination is that it sabotages your will, your intentions, right? And I call this state paralysis because you literally find yourself unable to take positive action on your own behalf. And this can be in little day-to-day things like browsing the internet when you have work to do, or in big things that affect lots of people in important ways, like not getting around to mailing the utility bill and leaving the whole family without electricity. Now, that used to happen in the home where I grew up. You can also procrastinate to the degree that you ruin your relationship, your career, your integrity, and your health. And in fact, we've all flaked out on our good intentions in most of these areas at least once, right? So what's going on when we can't act? Honestly, I think that doing things, committing ourselves, spending energy, creating something out of nothing, the reason we put it off is because it's not really a big thing. It's really simple. It's because it's hard. That's why it's hard. One of the great joys of my life is in publishing videos like this one, right? And then reading all the comments and discussions that you guys contribute. I love doing this. But if publishing videos is my joy, and it's how my family also earns its income, then how come I spend days when I'm supposed to be preparing these videos and planning and researching and writing and getting the intro right and shooting them? It's like torture for me. I'm dying of avoidance during those days. And because making these videos takes days of preparation, really, like it's about 6 to 8 hours per video of just like focused creative work, that kind of work that's hard, where you're making something out of nothing. Well, when it's time to plan the content, oh my gosh, I just get so interested in, cleaning out the silverware drawer, combing the cat. I've done both of those things today. Finally, I'm making this video, right? And it makes no sense because releasing these videos makes me happy. But doing the work that leads up to that moment is just hard work. That's all. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing that complicated. It's just hard. I want so bad when I'm having to plan a video. I get this huge desire. I just want to lay down. I want to watch, Hulu. But just like you, if I give into that all the time, my life is never going to go anywhere. So lying around, it sounds great. It's a nice fantasy that it's going to make everything better, but in reality, it's totally depressing. So what makes me happy is sticking to my intention to create videos, even when it's hard. I make good videos. I'm happy with them. Well, I make duds sometimes. But being engaged in creating and sharing and serving people in the world is what makes me tick. Now, procrastinating is a very weak solution that attempts to solve the problem of stress. It's stress, right? Stress is a problem, and it can make it seem like any minute now, we're going to get all this energy and focus. Like I'll procrastinate now and then boom, like a grenade. I'm going to explode with energy. I always think I wish there was like the creative version of the defibrillator, those things they put on a person's chest when their heart stops and they jolt the heart back into beating. I always think what's the thing that's going to jolt me back into work and get me back to the desk? And there is no magic thing. It's just no matter how I feel about it, it's getting up and walking over and then sitting down in my chair here and doing it. So another piece of that fantasy is the delusion that procrastinating is self-care. But is it? No. No, resting might be self-care, but procrastinating is not self-care. It's just the worst waste of time. It doesn't de-stress you, it causes stress. For people with childhood PTSD, especially when there's a lot of unhealed stuff, you're in a state of stress pretty much all the time. So everything is hard, and that is the vicious cycle. Stress makes things hard, so you avoid tasks, which makes you more stress, which prompts you to avoid tasks even more. And there it is. People who don't have childhood PTSD have no idea how much work it is for some of us to do ordinary things. It's exhausting and stressful just being in the world sometimes, right? People are stressful. Going out of the house is stressful. Sticking to a schedule is stressful. Expressing yourself is stressful. And hearing other people's opinions when you disagree with them, that can be stressful too. And making money, of course, is stressful. But you know what's more stressful? Not doing all of these things. And that's why when you feel overwhelmed and stressed, the solution isn't always to just retreat and give yourself permission to procrastinate. Sometimes the best way to calm stress is to just face right into it and take the chaos of all those unfinished tasks and the heap of to-do items and forgotten emails and unfinished projects and just get to work on them one at a time. You might want to stop thinking about stress and overwhelm, to stop telling yourself that the solution is to avoid everything that's stressful for you. Just stop even labeling it stress. Just look at it as like, this is life. I'm alive. I'm doing the things that are part of my life. Because in the end, the path of least resistance is to just do the things. Just do them anyway. That's how they get easier. You're making order out of chaos, and it feels good. It feels inspiring, and that's how you get happier. So how do you get started? You get the urge, sometimes, once you feel ready, to just run out there and just do it all, right? Do you ever get that? That is such a childhood PTSD thing, to go from, I can't do anything, to just like, I'm gonna do everything. And there are times when it doesn't make sense to just run out there and go for it and force yourself to tackle your list in a day. I don't want to discourage you if you've got that positive energy, but what can happen is you make a list of 20 or 40 or 100 things. You start on the first thing and then you sort of expand it to the first 10 things, and you're kind of doing them all at once and running around. And next thing you know, it's dysregulating you because you're tired and you're trying to juggle too much and you can't really like keep order of your thoughts. You're just like go, 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 go. And then you fall back into procrastination. So taking action at a good pace, a healthy pace. It's like a muscle. You can start to work it out slowly, just a little at a time at first, and then you get stronger. And whether you do a little at a time or go on a cleaning binge today, I'll tell you what the solution is not. The solution is not to give up on yourself. Don't identify with the trauma and mistake paralysis and giving up for being good to yourself. When you let yourself down, your worst behaviors will start just coming up. Now, I am aware that some people are like workaholics. So I don't want you to take this advice, and usually it's not the workaholics who would be writing me about this. It's people who are concerned about the workaholics going, but what about workaholism? It's not always good to keep going. And of course, everything can be done on the extreme. But you know who I'm talking to, you know who you are, it's the procrastinators, all right? When you let yourself down, your worst behaviors will start coming up. When you fall short of your own goals, you know what your CPTSD wants to do? It wants to find someone to blame. Is it going to blame you? Is it going to blame him, her, your parents, society, right? It starts to churn. And you start having random thoughts about how people are against you, or you're going over and over some harm done to you in the past. If that's happening when you're trying to take action, check in with yourself. Ask yourself, is there something that I'm having trouble handling right now? Am I avoiding something? Am I actually angry at myself for not following through on what I need to be doing? And by the way, if you're not sure if complex PTSD is the thing that drives some of your self-defeating actions like this, you can take a quiz I developed, and it's right down in the description section. It's in the very top row. You'll see it right under the video. You can take that quiz, and I will send you a list of really common symptoms of CPTSD, and you can check and see if they apply to you. Your strength lies in action. Action taken in right proportion to your capacity. So don't wait until it feels right for you to start brushing your teeth, all right? Just take that one step and just brush your teeth. Even if you're tired, just for practice, just to stretch yourself. Then the next day, you can do the laundry. And if you're still feeling good, you can reply to emails that people wrote you weeks ago, but that you never answered. You can schedule a haircut. You can pop into the gym that you pay for all the time, but you haven't been to in 3 months. All right. You can review your credit card bill for all the monthly subscriptions you forgot you're paying and see if there's any you can remove. You know the good actions that you need to be taking next. You may have to push yourself, not like a maniac, but some every day. You know that saying that you hear sometimes, don't be a human doing, be a human being. Well, that's a good sentiment. Having grown up in a commune, I'm always a little bit like skeptical of stuff like that. And the reason is because doing and being are both really important. All right. That like criticism of like doing, having something wrong with it. No, doing and being, both important. And doing is how we earn a living, and it's how we express ourselves. And how are you going to become fully yourself if you don't do things? It's not just the thing that you get done. It's the momentum that you build from just doing anything at all. And the more you're taking action, the easier it becomes and the more natural it feels to keep taking action. I procrastinated for years on the idea for Crappy Childhood Fairy. It was on my mind for 2 decades. I mean, it wasn't totally formed yet. I hadn't learned everything I needed to learn really to be ready, but it was on my mind. And I didn't have the inner power to do anything about it. So eventually I did. I'm so glad. And the thing that launched me into action was I signed up for an expensive seminar about how to share your own life story as a way to teach others, like online. And I wanted to do this thing. It just seemed like this huge amount of money, and I was terrified to do it. And what if I actually did launched it? This started as a blog, and what if I did that and I got judged? Well, I did a little bit. What if my work was bad? It is sometimes. What if I was successful and then I was committed to always having to work hard on it? That is kind of what happened. But I don't have to work hard. I like to work hard. I do procrastinate sometimes. It comes from the exact same place as anybody's procrastination. I just have a lack of power to do what I intend. But that was the big fear, is that I'd get stuck. I'd have to be in action all the time and I'd have no escape. And so I find that I have more confidence in my ability to really step up and work hard if I can periodically just like take time away, lie down, not for too long, not that big like time waster lie down, but just go, hey, I can take a break anytime I want. I don't have to fear this. I don't have to be afraid to make a commitment. I'll talk about this in another video sometime, but making commitments is where life starts to get really like rich. So that's a lot what we're talking about when we take action. Some of that is just making a commitment to start a new project. And if you start the new project, I mean, let's say you open a shop, right? Well, now you got to go to work every day at the shop. And that's all it is. It's hard. You can just foresee, like, even when I'm sad, even when I'm dysregulated, I'm going to have to go. But I really cannot emphasize enough that while that is stressful, it is so much more stressful to not take that action, to not open that shop when that's what you wanted to do. Imagine if I never did the Crappy Childhood Fairy just because I was afraid it would involve work. Part of me would love to lay around and just watch TV. There's so much great TV out there, And it seems like unlimited TV would really be nice, but most of us know what that really feels like, right? It feels terrible. Your life passes you by. It feels like it's passing you by because it is passing you by. You're not being you. You're not doing what you're meant to be doing. And what you're meant to be doing is really the only thing that's ever going to make you feel happy and fulfilled and have that feeling like, I lived well today. This was a good day. It was worthwhile. I lived my life. And for me, the things that make me feel that way are like connecting well with my family and people close to me, and a little bit every day of that. Also to go be outside and walk around. Like I go take a walk outside, I feel like, yeah, I lived my day. And doing work that I know is making a difference in people's lives, that makes a good day. I like those days. And I used to feel envious of people who build roads, for example. I don't know why roads, but you get stuck in traffic and there's like road work there and people are working. And I used to think, God, they're so lucky. They go home at night and they're like, today I built 100 feet of road. And it's a real thing, and they did it and they know that they had it. And I often had work that it was a little less tangible, working online, working in offices, and I didn't have that satisfaction. But really the road is not what would have done it for me. It's doing what I was made to do. And finally I'm doing it. And it is so fun. It's so fun to do the thing that you were meant to do. I knew it. One day I saw that seminar, I paid the money, I went, and it was a lot of money, and it was 4 days in a corporate hotel. Boy, that added up. And then on the third day I got stomach flu. I couldn't even go to the fourth day. It was kind of rough, but I started. And that was the day that the feeling that life was passing me by went away. I started. And I was using my gifts. I was on my way, and I had to make use of all that money I spent on the seminar. I felt like I had to follow up and make this blog. The blog then turned into the videos turned into the YouTube channel, then there were courses, now there's a membership, and all that. It just grew and grew, and it's just kind of carrying me along in a thing that I had a vague sense that I wanted to do, but I couldn't even see it until I was kind of walking through the paces of it. And to this day, I don't know exactly where it's going. I just keep taking action. I keep taking action. Try to show up for it. It can be hard, but never as hard as it would have been if I knew that I could create Crappy Childhood Fairy, but I didn't make the effort. And that's why it feels like life is passing you by when you can't act, because time is ticking and the world is just waiting for you to step up and take your true place in it. It's time, okay? It's time for you to do that. You can do that by taking action. You can do it with one, you can do it with a big burst of action, but I think it's a little more sustainable if you take small, consistent actions. Just take some every day, get them worked into your routine, because they will get you there too. They give you a little breather though between actions so that you can, kind of go through your CPTSD dysregulation, get re-regulated, come back, equilibrate. Do you know that word? That means to get things balanced. So that you can handle the stress that life gives you each time you put yourself out there. That's what's scary. When you take action and you start pursuing what you really want, you're putting yourself out there. And so when you get criticized, and you will, you just will, and that's okay. When you are very clear about what you're trying to do, it hurts less. It doesn't stop you in your tracks like it used to. So you need that strength. Small actions taken consistently, dealing with what happens, equilibrating, and it's like super vitamins for childhood PTSD. If you were constrained from letting your light shine, your spirit is going to love doing these small actions. You're getting somewhere, and accomplishment feels really good. That's what you were held back from with your CPTSD. When you keep taking those small actions, does success always follow? No, not always. But what does follow is adventure, the adventure of your life. You're in the game, all right? You're in the soup, as my mom used to say. You may or may not reach the goal. You may not even want the goal by the time you get there, but the act of taking those steps will increase your aliveness and open you up to life in all kinds of ways that you didn't even expect, all right? You're open for business. Your strength is action. Now, it's totally common for people with CPTSD to take action in big bursts and then crash afterwards and lose all the momentum. And I have a video that's about preventing that. It flows really nicely with this video, and you will find it right here, and I will see you very soon.